Good morning, everybody. This is Tom from Weekly Gospel Reflections. Today we're going to talk about don't waste your time on this earth. What I mean by that is sometimes we waste time by thinking about what's going to come to us. So today, stay tuned. Okay, so today we're going to look at a verse here. I thought I had it up, but okay, it's all right. We can get it up there. Psalms 32:8. I will instruct thee and teach thee in the way to which thou shalt go. I will guide thee with my eye. Okay, so today we're going to talk about do we sometimes we worry. Don't waste your time here on this earth. Don't waste your time on this earth. So many of us live today, and we actually live so little. And what I mean by that is this. We wait until we're 60 or 70 years old and say, oh, I remember this. Maybe I should have done this differently. Maybe I should have done that differently. And we don't realize it till we're 60 and 70 years old. And we regret it. It's too late. Recently, last week or so, we've been doing Journey with God messages. We sometimes take a look at our life as a time. I'm going to say an example for this. Sometimes we look at our life as like this. Well, when I get this done, I'm going to go buy this. And well, next year when I have time, we're going to go on a trip. I know we haven't been on vacation in a while. We're going to go on a trip next year. Sorry, children. Sorry, kids. We're going to go to church today, but I need to get my car paid off first before we do anything. My job has restricted me. So you come up with all these excuses. And what are we waiting to do? We waste so much time in waiting. I remember one time I said I go see my mom and dad next month. Then next month rolled around. Well, man, that come around fast. Well, I'll see them next month. Well, next month. And before you know it, a year gone by, and I'm not seeing my mom and dad. I said, this is ridiculous. So I get in the car and I go there. Well, come to find out, mom was not feeling well. Dad was okay, but mom was not feeling well. She just recently went in the hospital. They didn't want to tell us because it was like we didn't want to worry us. Well, if I'd been in tune with my mom, even though I did talk to her, but not as frequently as I should, we need to look at things, at life itself, and enjoy them. We're going to miss the good things in life. How about children growing up? I remember when I was a child, my dad would say, okay, boys, come over here, give me a kiss and hug, and we'd go sit in his lap, and he would give a kiss and a hug and tell us to go do our prayers to God. And that foundation of me sitting in my dad's lap and him giving us a night kiss, even on up until I'm 17, 18 years old, he did that. I didn't sit in his lap. But he would say, come here, give me a hug. Let me have a kiss. And I would kiss him on his cheek, give him a hug, and go to bed. We did that. We did that to mom, too. That laid the foundation of who I am today. And I know that it is very important that you spend, it was even 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes per child. But it made a difference to who I am today. How many times you guys tell your wife that you need her and you love her and you care for her and your children? I tell R and Ruth every day before they leave the house, I love you very much. Have a great day. Am I perfect? No, but I've learned. I've learned. Listen, I just recently lost 2 boys in my life. My sons are no longer here. I've had to really think about that. Did some soul searching. Why did this happen? Why did this happen to me? Been thinking about it. The Lord knows everything. I don't know anything. The Lord knows what he is doing. Love your children from childhood all the way up. I don't care if they're 50 years old. Go tell them you love them. My father made an impact in my life. My mother would say, did you say your prayers as we're sitting on it? She knew we did because she's sitting at the doorway. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. When I grew up, it's yes, ma'am, no, sir, yes, sir, no, sir. That's the way we answered. Did you go do what I told you to do? Yes, sir, I did. It's done. Okay, thank you, son. That's how I was raised. So did I have respect for my parents? Yes. Did I fear them? Yes. But on the other hand, I was there for them and they're there for me. There's love there. People say, well, you go to the Philippines to find your love. I had love where I was at. My parents passed. I have love in USA. It's just I chose that I was just lonely. There's a difference. Loneliness and being by yourself. You can't stay with your brothers and sisters and your cousins and aunts and uncles. So you find yourself lonely. And so that's the reason why. I actually was looking at something the other day. God wants you to always, always say and talk to Him during the night. We never had much in our life, but we always had clothes and we had food. We may not know what we wanted, but back in those days, it was okay. Well, what do I care, right? As your kid, you don't know. So God and my father must have worked hand in hand. Early on, my dad taught us to work early. And what I mean to work early, at 15, 16 years old, when I was even of age, I could go haul hay in the field. And my father would say, okay, take your earnings, save some for the Lord, however you want to give. If you give it to someone, it's okay, a piece of that. And the rest goes to you and to do whatever. But the Lord taught me early on, and Dad, to work and work hard, and you will have really a prosperous life. One thing we always worry sometimes, are you worried about your bank balance instead of spending time with your family? It's very, very, very important. My father taught me that it's not about the bank balance, even though he's sometimes really hard-headed about that. But it was spending time with us also. He looked forward to us coming. He always made sure there was steak. There was, at that time I was drinking beer. He always made sure I had a beer or two. He always took care of me. He always wanted us to go forward in life. God wants you to go forward too. God is our Father in heaven. He created us. He wants us to always have good things in our lives. He doesn't want us to wait and worry and, oh, I'm going to do that next month. Hold on. We can go next week. We can do this next week. No, do today. Do today when it has to do with family. You'll never regret it. Because when you're laying there on your deathbed, who's going to take care of you? It's your bank account. It's your family and the Lord. They're going to be there for you. You know, poverty in life controls, and you're slaved by poverty. So many people I see, and it's not poverty with money. It's poverty sometimes in your mind. And what I mean is they're so close-minded, and people don't realize that if they would do these little steps, that their life would be enhanced so much, and they would gain so much more by learning the Lord. Enjoy. Find something you like to do. Enjoy your life. Poverty enslaves us in our mind, and our body and spirit. Pray to the Lord to put you on that path. God has a path for you. In fact, He's blessed me with so many opportunities. I can't tell you all the opportunities. You guys would say, there's no way that this man has had these opportunities. At a young age, I worked retail. After the mid to late 20s, the company had sold to a bigger chain. So I found myself unemployed because I was upper management. They laid off 20 of us. I was depressed. I was really in bad shape. I was times that I didn't want to get up out of bed. And, sure, they gave us a little severance package, which wasn't much, nothing at all. And it was really just hard times for me. I prayed to the Lord, but I didn't pray earnestly. So one day, the chain called me, said, we're terribly sorry you're gone, but we might have an opportunity somewhere else. Well, that didn't pan out. So they let me down again. So I was really depressed. So 2 months rolled by, and I was receiving unemployment. I was surviving, but I was not active in trying to find a job. One day, the Lord told me, just pick up the paper. I love reading the paper. I love the smell of the paper. I love reading the paper. I still do. I love looking at the Wall Street Journal, even though I did not know anything about it. I'd look at the stocks and say, I wonder what this is. I wonder what that is. Even in my 20s, I don't know. I still don't know. Well, I saw an ad in there that said, we're looking for a security specialist. Well, what's that? Sounds cool. So I answered it. I He said, call this number. So I called the number. Said, okay, phone interview's going to be this day at this time. Be available. Okay. I was. I talked to the guy. The guy says, okay, I like what you had to say, and thank you so much. Someone will be flying down. It's a pre-interview, and they're going to be interviewing you on this date, and you're available. Yeah. So reluctantly, I was not going to go. And I said, this is just another fake job. It's spam. And I get in there, and I said, okay, I'll get dressed, put on a shirt and tie, cleaned up, really good, nice. Went in there, and the guy says, I'm like the last one of the day. He didn't have many. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. He didn't have many. I said, so I'm the last one. So you saved best to last? He started laughing. And then, but the guy was really kind of hard. He had this attitude of this, he's done, military, done, military guy. Full bird colonel, and he was military all the way. He says to me, what do you know about security? I said, nothing. I know nothing. I know that there's guards at the prison. I know nothing about security. So would you like to learn? I said, yeah, I'd love to learn. He says, I like your attitude. I'm flying you up next week. We got 4 people we're flying up. You're one of the 4. Okay. And then we're going to do our final interview there. Well, guess what? I got the job. So he says, we're going to train you on Panasonic, Toshiba, Sony, RCA, other products that we sell. And we sell them to prisons. And we don't necessarily sell them. We're consultants. We consult to the prisons on how they should lay these cameras, what they should do. We're getting into fiber optics, a new thing. It's a brand new thing, fiber optics, for the security industry. We're getting into it. You're going to be the most knowledgeable guy in the country. We're going to fly you all over the place to help teach these corporations. I go, really? Yeah. So I got paid $300 a week, company credit card, and for my food and everything, and plane and incidentals. $300 a week, plus what I sold. Okay. It's not much. But God put me on that path, and it ended up being a great path for me. I was we had FedEx as a customer, our largest customer. They were paying the company, I don't know, at that time, salaries, depending on security consultant, $60,000 a year. It's really good money back then. And I'd say in the early 80s, something like that. So I got to be an expert in that. Card access control, egress, walk through metal detectors when I didn't even know what one was. Proximity cards, things like that. You hide the car behind the walls, keypads, retina scans. Then I got to fly to. Then I lived in Florida, but they wanted a rep in Florida, but I got to go to NASA. I got to see all the great things at McDonnell Douglas, Martin Marietta, NASA there, Cape Canaveral. I got to be on the site. I got to see security things. It was but God put me there. It was like Moses. You think Moses knew exactly what he would do when he was 20 years old or 15 years old? Do you think he knew what he was going to do? Even at my age, you think Moses knew exactly where he was going to be at 20, 25 years old and what his future would be and how many years he would live? Moses didn't know anything. Moses knew what God told him to know, and God had to really talk to him to get him to know anything. God gives us opportunities. We just need to look at the opportunities in front of us and make a decision and keep an open mind about it. If I had closed mind, I would not receive that opportunity. I said, well, why not? God's blessed me in so many opportunities. That's just one of many I could tell you stories about. And this story goes in depth of stories of wonderful things that God blessed me during when I did that security. He brought me to places I would never have seen. Although I didn't want to go in the prisons, but I got to see the prisons. I didn't want to be in there. And the thing of it is God put me in situations, and it got to be the point to where, like the British government, the consulate from Miami called me on the phone and said, we want to meet with you. We understand you're one of the best in the nation. And I still work for the guy. I said, okay. So I called the guys. Come on, the consulate wants to talk to us. He said, I'll be down there tomorrow. He flew down. He said, you're incredible. It wasn't just me. God put me there. God did it. I didn't do anything. God told me what to do or say. I was making good money. God put me there from nothing to something. But I had to learn a lot. It's not like you can wake up one day and know this. I went through months and months and months of school. Retinal scans, fingerprint control. Now it's just standard. But back then it was new technology. There are things that they created that now they're no longer created to have it. You know, like they had what they call play games at Cape Canaveral, and I was in charge of that. And what I mean by that is military says, it got with me and said, son, we're going to have what's called play games. Your job is to make sure that you keep my men out. And if we're caught, you get a bonus. And the bonus was some nights stay at a Marriott. I said, okay. My boss said, it's okay. So my boss was there with me. So we designed the system at Martin, all the fence lines, all that stuff, the cameras, the walk-through metal detectors. It was made by a company out in California. I went to school there. I knew everything about them. It's basically a telephone booth. It's, fingerprint control before you go in, the retinal scans, all kinds of stuff before you get on there. But then where their job was to sneak in, they had all the guys sneaking in, all the SEALs coming in and flying. They have one area just alligators, and they keep alligators there on purpose because it keeps all people from crawling in. But the unique thing about it, God gave me that knowledge. God gave me everything that I have. When you have God in your heart, you never lose God. God is always going to be with you. If as a little child, even though I felt like I lost God during that hard time that I had, it ended up being, I think it was about 3 months before I found a job. And I was lucky to find that job. It was not like there's jobs hanging off the tree then. There was not. There was jobs, but there's jobs that nobody wanted those jobs. But I got lucky. Even at $300 a week was questionable. At $300 a week back then was fair money. It was not good money, but it was fair money. But the offset of that was opportunities that gave me before there with the gas, and the food was covered. How could I not beat that, right? Wear and tear on my vehicle even paid for that. But when you come to God, you never lose it. My daddy taught me early on to trust in God, always call him and call his name, call glory to God. See, look at things this way. God is standing beside us always. God is always looking at us. He's always watching us. He always has a plan for us. Let him guide you. Make the most of your time here. Don't wait for things to happen. Waiting is dead time. You only have this many years on this earth, and after that it's gone. I'm learning that from my end, from experience. Live your life now. Don't regret it when time is gone. Don't regret it. Live life now. That even me, even where I'm at now here in the Philippines, I feel like that I'm being held back. I want to experience more. I want to go more. I want to do more things. But I can't do it because ours in school. I'm not going to leave her. And even when she's out of school, it's a limited time of 1 month, 2 months. So we can go during that time. So that's the reason I want to get her in schools, get her to the age, and we're going to travel more. 1 day of worry. Now listen to this. They did a study on this. 1 day of worry is like living a full week of work. It's working a full week. So 1 day of worry, when you worry and you say this, well, I'll go here next week. I'll do this next week. I'll be with my children next week. I think I'll do this next week. I will be with the Lord next week. No, be with the Lord now. Plan out your days. Plan out your weeks. Just be with your family. Enjoy life with the family. It's very important. Even if it costs you money that you don't have. What do I mean by that? It's there, but you don't want to spend it. Spend a little time with your family. Enjoy that time. Have the bonding time. Recently, we went to a park. It was a park furnished by another family that's attached to my family. And what I mean is the daughter and son are engaged to get married. And they put on a birthday party. So we went, and they bought all the everything. They brought all the food. They bought the resort that we went at, the park that we went at. We went swimming. I went swimming. Even though I can't swim, thank goodness I'm 6'2", and the pool's like 5'8". But it gives the opportunity that a good bonding. And I don't want to go. It's going to rain today. I really hate it. I don't want to go. Everybody speaks Visaya. There's not one American I can talk English to. It's like I sat there up on a log. Well, guess what? I had a good time. And there was nobody to talk to. And even the people I talked to, they didn't want to talk. It's okay. So I learned to realize that it's okay. Just go and enjoy yourself. So I enjoyed myself for me. Ruth eventually came out to the pool, and came out to the pool eventually. I was out in it already before them. And I had her brother-in-law with me, and my two brother-in-laws with me, and we had a good time. One understands English, one doesn't, but he hurt his back, so he was not in the pool. He's normally the first one in the pool. I have a great family, but you got to enjoy the family, and enjoy the family in the U.S. Enjoy the time you have here on this earth. Don't waste your time, man. I tell you what, I'm glad I'm not wasting my time. I've had a great life. I've done things that I would not I can't. It's incredible. It's just incredible. I mean, I in that same company one time the guys were Top Gun pilots, so they had airplanes. I mean, there was like 5 airplanes the company owned there, and I'm talking airplanes like nice 6, 8 seater, 10 seater airplanes, two prop, and one had a jet. Okay, but I didn't get to use that, of course. But he says, okay, we're flying you to Bahamas. Oh, okay. Oh, you're going tomorrow, but there's a project down there. We need to secure a property for a writer, the book writer. I can't say its name. And so I said, okay. Can you tell me the writer? No, I can't tell you the name but I want you to go secure the property for him. It needs car to access, keypad entry, gate control. I did all that. We did all that stuff. You need to design it. You need to find a company to install it, and you need to do all this, have it done by so and so time. We did a little bit in the guard situation, not really, but that was something that was coming of age at that time. But ours was more, material things, not necessarily into the protecting bodyguards or things like that. But the company that I did, we would hide the cameras in rooms, of course, that, people would not know, like behind, the camera there in a clock. And this is technology, guys. They didn't have wireless. We would do judges' chambers. We would go in and, check for mics in judges' chambers. And we found a few mics. We found political guys running for offices. We found microphones in their offices. There's just so many things that God has put in front of me that nobody would ever experience, and it was all good things. It was all because God put me there. I go, wow, Lord, you have opened my eyes, and it took me to the next step of my life. And that's another long 30-minute, an hour, 2-hour story. Because of that, it took me to the next level in my life. And I've done so many different things in my life. I've sold sunglasses. I've sold food. I was a security consultant. I was a food manufacturer. I owned my security company. I was actually into pest control. I actually owned an insurance agency. I've done all kinds of things that the Lord has blessed me. And it was funny how the Lord would step me from this step to another step. But I know that I've influenced other people in my life by me of taking those jobs. And I know that. And I know why now. I've influenced them through God, through me, and God put me there to help me do this, to help these people, whomever they are. And God has said, okay, say these words like He's telling me to say now, and tell people, I will be with you. And I will be with you and I will help you. Remember, God will walk with you every day. You have to ask Him. And God's going to be there with you no matter what, thick or thin. You just have to ask Him, be with me today. And He's with you today. Once you receive God in your heart, you never lose Him. He never leaves your heart. He's there. It's like everybody has an angel. Don't think that they don't have an angel. I have an angel. All of us have angels. They walk beside you. People say, oh, that guy's crazy. That guy don't know what he's talking about. How many times you sat in a chair and contemplate about something, maybe something that you're getting ready to do, it maybe not so good. It's naughty. Maybe it's nice. Maybe it's naughty and nice. And you know what I mean by that. Nice for you. and naughty on the same side. And are you thinking Christian? But sometimes that little thing clicks in your head. It's like, I shouldn't do that. I'm not going to do that. Or maybe that thing that says, don't take a right there, take a left there, and go down that road instead of going down this road. How many times things happen to you? Like driving down the interstate, all of a sudden something pops you in the head and says, slow down now. You go down 2 miles, there's a cop off the side. Saved you $400 or $500. How many times have you walked down a path of bad situations and the Lord's pulled you out of it? How many times you've been laying in a foxhole and praying to God to help you through that, and He has helped you through that? There's so many stories out there. There's so many men that I have met in my life that tell me stories, and I love it. I would sit and listen to stories all day and night, and I still do. Alton would tell me stories for hours. Tell me about your childhood, Alton. Tell me about you growing up and being a professional wrestler. Tell me about all the things that you did. Alton was a professional wrestler. He did it for years out of Tampa, Florida. Did it for years. Made a lot of money. In those days. Now it's nothing. But there's a lot of things Alton, he taught me a lot. I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot from a lot of people. If I could speak the language, I'm sure I learned a lot about old timers. I'll tell you something. Filipino come to me, especially old timers, still to this day. There's a 89-year-old down the street, or actually he's 90, down the street here, World War II. Speaks English 100%. Why? Why does he speak English? Because he's here during World War II. And Americans taught him. He's telling me about the battles. He's telling me about the battles here in World War II. He's telling me about things that happened. There's really unique stories in English 100%. Guy can barely make it down the road walking. But I tell you what, he's the most intelligent man I believe I've ever met. Because he has knowledge that I just strive to get. I learn. I keep my mouth shut and I learn. It's hard to believe, right? But I do. I learn. And I learn from him. I said, tell me about the battle of this battle here over and down at Camp One. Oh, you know about that? And I said, yeah, I know about it, but I want to know. Tell me about it in detail. He said, well, we were surrounded by the Japanese. There's only like 16 of us. We dug in and we had some place, and he started telling me the story. They captured a lot of the people here. And, you know, it was bad what they did, but they did some things. And so he was telling me those stories, and I was just amazed. He has a caribou. He's actually owned all this land at one time. He sold off because of life and how life has treated him. But life has been good for him. He's a Christian man. He said there's many of us that's already gone, but there's a few of us left that speak English 100%. We understand every word that you say. During World War II, the Americans taught these Filipino English. And he says, I learned from a Filipino English. And he learned from an American soldier from Washington, D.C. It's amazing how they interact. Thank you guys so much for always watching my videos. I know I got off on that subject, but I had to tell you, sometimes we need to listen and enjoy life and get that bonding. And that's what I like. God bless. See you guys.